This is Dr. Peggy Semmingson, Associate Professor of Curriculum and Instruction at the University of Texas at Arlington. This podcast series shares success tips from faculty on academic productivity. Views shared by faculty are their own. We are talking to Dr. Colleen Casey, Associate Professor in the College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs. Colleen, what are your best tips for staying productive with writing and research?
Okay, so I think that there's two best tips. And the first one I want to offer is that you need to know where you're going and why. And why I say that is because without knowing where we're going and what we want to accomplish, we will be faced with a lot of writing and research demands that at times will be competing. So we often think of prioritization, but we really can't prioritize anything until we know where we're going and why. So you really need to be aware of what your focus is. Are you responsible for producing grants? Are you responsible for producing journal articles? Are you responsible for writing book chapters? Are you responsible for disseminating your research out to a wider public audience? And understand which of those feed into the trajectory that your career is going to go. Then, once you know where you're going and why, you need to prioritize. The second tip I would suggest is prioritizing so that you can learn to say which is most important at what point in time, as you will be exposed to a lot of wonderful opportunities through this work, through our work, through your writing, through your research. And often the hardest thing to do is say no. But if you know where you're going and you can prioritize that, then you can start to say, or at least say, I can't get to that right now, I need to do X, Y, and Z. So I think the best tips I can offer are to know where you're going and why, and to prioritize.
Okay, great. And then can you tell us just a bit about any of your habits or process as a writer?
So there's 4 habits I have. My first habit is to be greedy with my time. And I say that because you have to know what time of day works for you to write, and you have to recognize that that is a valuable part of your day. Sometimes we will spend time writing and we may not accomplish very much. We may be working on a paragraph for 2 or 3 hours, but it's an important hurdle to overcome, and it's important that we spend that time and reserve that time on our calendar and treat it as valuable as it is to our overall productivity. The second habit I have is finding where you work best. For me, it is to hide away where no one can find me. So I do not come into my campus office until I have done what I needed to do related to my writing and research goals for that day, and then I come into the office. And then if I'm interrupted, it's not going to put that behind. It's going to keep me on schedule and give me the quiet time that I need to accomplish the writing. The third piece of advice that I have is to also know yourself and know what the best time of day is for you. For me, it's mornings. So for me, the first thing I do in my day is work on my writing or my research project. For someone else, it might be the afternoon. For others, it might be evening. For others, it might be the middle of the night. But knowing when you work best allows you to prioritize that time for that activity, and then you can take care of the other things you may have, whether it's administrative work, whether it's filling out forms for students, different things that come up that don't demand so much concentration and effort of your time. And then the last is more specific to a habit that I've developed in terms of the publication process or the grant review process, and that is get over it, so to speak. Give yourself 24 hours if you get a negative review. That's fine. It's going to happen, but learn from that. So while it sounds abrupt to say get over it, you can mourn for 24 hours. And then it's time to move on and figure out, how do you improve that manuscript? How do you address those reviewers' comments if it's a revise and resubmit? How do you respond to the grant reviewers' comments and improve it and understand how you can make that a better manuscript or grant proposal? So while you do get a little time to feel disappointed, ultimately you want to move forward and you want to connect back to think about knowing where it is you're going and why, and then get moving in that direction.
Okay,